Where's the HILCHOS NACHALOS Daled Asid?
Page 102.
Page
Ze
102.
beginnen spelen. Ja? So, de moesten gaat toch allemaal. Als Piram, Yiddish, English.
English, please.
English.
Don't forget. Yeah, I'll stop with that. If you don't mind.
English, if you guys don't mind my English. No, I'm not so bad in English anymore, but for sure. The Rebnusen is Bechol. No, Shkuf. I'm driving. The Rebnusen's Sigang to every Yom Tov is a little bit different than this, because by the Goyim Lahav Le'Erev Al-Chavdul, there's also such a thing, 4th of July. Something happened the 4th of July, and we commemorate what happened, they commemorate what happened the 4th of July. Yeah, so we got rid of the British. And therefore, every year, to show your patriotism, you get rid of the British. I mean, you celebrate, but it's out. We don't go every 4th of July and try to get rid of the British again. We got rid of the British once. And we're commemorating we got rid of the British. Lahavdul, whenever he talks about Yom Tov, he talks about Yom Tov is not Yetzias Mitzrayim. We're celebrating now that we went out of Yetzias out of Mitzrayim, which is true too. But the ikaf in the Yom Tov is that Pesach, such something that's called Yetzias Mitzrayim came down on the world. In the Mahalach for Yetzias Mitzrayim is still there today. The Minister talks about it a lot, that every Yid goes through Yetzias Mitzrayim, Matan Torah. He goes through the Nisyonos, he goes through thinking that he's almost so close to going into Tetzaveh, and then he gets set back for 40 years. And then when he goes into Tetzaveh, he starts off again. Yetzias Mitzrayim is a program is the word, that every Yid has to go through. And so it's not just we're celebrating that we went out of Mitzrayim. We're celebrating that the Rebbeinu Shalom gave us a concept of Yetzias Mitzrayim, and we have to implement the Inyan of Yetzias Mitzrayim in our lives, in our daily life, where we are today. Same thing with Purim. Purim, the Muslim explains, is that something happened to Purim. Something happened to Purim. And what happened to Purim was a mahalach, a new chiddush in the system. And the chiddush in the system applies to us today. It's not only that Purim we killed Haman. It's Purim, they came down a koyach that the Yid should be able to kill Haman. And therefore it talks about the Inyan from Mechias HaMulek in Purim. Over here, the Muslim starts with the Torah and he says the beginning from Purim is Haknuas Haman HaMulek. Yeah? So that sucht that Begulesaini Kavyuchel Grishbarchi Beheste Purim. In just a short synopsis, the matzah of the Yidden that went by the Nes from Purim was, they thought they were supposed to be nigel already. They thought they were supposed to go out because they calculated the 70 years. 70 years didn't happen. 70 years didn't happen. And the Yidden, they started to assimilate. And they started to come into a matzah where then the Hanem Zerusha Rachas Virus. The Hanem Zerusha Rachas Virus was not only to them a enjoyment of going to the king's party. It was a mahalach and leben that since we're here in Gulag, the Rebbeinu Shalom is a hestepunim, and the way we survive is that we mingle and we came out of a matzah. The Gemara says that they went down to such a matzah, it was taki gewesen, the Chaibs and Anshas were clear. They were not on a Hershel Madrage. They were not on a Hershel Madrage because it seemed like to them, ki ili the Rebbeinu Shalom, kabayuchu, is called to Velasani because Shasani Alzer, Shapuna Erev, Alaini, Vishayaz Puna, Kumashagusa Panaya line. So the whole thriller that was doing this because here in Gurus we're in the Mechanah in the Hestapuna, the Rebbeinu Shalom, the Hestapuna in Shakti. To explain it then I mean, when a father is in a room with a child, and the father is not pleased with the child, he'll turn around from the child. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean the child has to get out of the house. It doesn't mean the child can do anything that he can do when his father's looking. And it doesn't mean that even his protection is not on the law of Madrage, but it's a way of showing a Hester Puna. In Gulas is do a weg from a Hester Puna, and where Mispal the Rebbeinu should turn around to us. Yeah? Manachni Nishu, Vieshma Mine Ben Israel, Yakshuniloim, Eurochagulas, Becholia, Manachni Tzarkamila, Bainam Nishu. What was he? We're in Gulas so long, 2,000 years almost. And we think we're being misspelled. So there's people who Benai Israel make Chazah Shulam Matus, and they think that the tefillahs that they did went lyric. Aber be'emes, the tefillahs had tzadikim shebachol dar v'day, the tefillahs for the tzadikim, that is ma'ala moisam and mikayim moisam. The reason why we're still here and screaming, why we're still here and screaming to the body shouldn't take us out of gulas, is because we're still here. So 2,000 years ago, if anybody ever read Roman history, not that I recommend it, but there are thousands and thousands of nations who are conquered and they're not here. They're not here. They're not here to scream. They're not here to wait for redemption. So the NUTA says over here, no, we think Shetoim Chazah Shulam Belibam Shekol HaTfilas Haim Lirik. Aber Emes Kol HaTfilas HaTzadikim B'chol Dor B'dor Haim Ma'alam Oisam Im Mekayim Oisam. V'yu Moshe Samishkan in Boinem Kemusa Shel Shechina Ma'at Ma'at At Shishtalam Shir Kemusa Ozu V'Mashiach. The tefillahs that we think we don't see what it accomplished. You don't see what it accomplished. However, those are the tefillahs which are building up to this look, and eventually those are going to be what's going to take us out. You know, because that parish ad v'savram yabeshta. You know, it talks about the Torah where the Rebbe said that they went on to an animal. Yeah, an animal is good. Yeah, an animal. A fish is an animal.
Well, some could be mammals.
Mammals, I'm sorry.
A
grosse whale. And they didn't realize they were on a whale. They thought that they were on a island. Yeah. We zoekten het af, bij Emmes eine kein. Ere Salkinen, Rafinen, Bashlinen, eine Kolle Twilis, 102. Oilum, Choma Schmarben, Betwillen in the Schchine Yosef. So besides the point is that that we're still in Gulas, but that means that we're still here. Besides that, every Twila was Hayitit is something which is Boina Ashkina B'Yosef, Kishishtalam Koima Shil Spina, when we finish building, Aina Al-Ra, Alidai Rava Twilis, Ich Mil Rachel, we have this Midis Hadin Midis Rachel. Yeah, so I talked about the Torah over there. With the Rebbe Zuk, Katcham Gabay is Hapach. So they were cooking on the well, you know. They thought that it was just an island. But when they heated it up, it turned over. So Zugdat and the Rebbe, as the pshat is, Zebach is Chesed, because now we're talking about Midis again. So that Mahapach werden zu Midis Chesed. Alpha Pishan Hershel, that will sign it, but there is sign here again. Alpha Pikan Sirich, Manachni Lechazda, Shepachazda, Yigal Asuni, Ansham Koza Haita. So the Rebbe says, even though, which is something hard for us to understand, one was saying that in order for us to have the Geila, we have to go to the Torah and Tefillah is Mamsha the Geila. And the Rebbe says over there in the Torah that even after we'll have the Torah and Tefillah, we won't earn it. We won't earn it. So there's a difference saying, like, if you work with somebody and you find favor in his eyes, he hires you. You finish working for a week, you get paid for it. That's not the Geila. The Geila is that if we find favor in Hashem's eyes, He'll do with us a tzedukah b'chesed. It's like raising funds. If the person you solicit likes you, He'll give you a chesed. There's the Rebbe do. Alpha pikan tzirich manach lechazda, shebechazda yigal esoni anshel gavayt. But this is Klal Yisrael. Ikemoitan says, the Rebbe says, she Klal Yisrael kani beprutis. That's kol echad ve'echad. You know, the Eitzel kol echad ve'echad is auch do dem inyan. So what's the inyan? There's a shekol mishnechnas b'avodis Hashem kitzas. The person who starts with avodas Hashem, kvar usik ma'at oi harba bezbadet is b'tfilas tchinas b'kushis. She yizkesh Hashem is burach yusam puna vayla v'kevayla v'dusa v'galayni mikavoisov v'medoisa v'do. So he equates over here the tefillas of the gulas Boy from Klulius, a Magzashach Nusalatin, Boyne Yishma, the same of David Abducha. The Indian of Gulas Beprutius, is Reb Nussen's writes over here, is a person is asking the Rebbeinu Shalom to take him out of his Gulas. What's his Gulas? Yigalani, he should redeem him. Redeem is the word, the Ge'ela is redemption. Kavoisav, Medoisav, Haruah. That's the Ge'ela Pratius of a person comes to a matzav where he's in charge. We got that in the Torah. The malchus can be, you can be enslaved to your to your authority, or you can be ben choyim. A person that's mispaled to the Rebbeinu Shalom is the gilish shleima is the gilish shleima. You can take it out of Shmoneh Esrei. But the gilish prutius is tavoisav and medoisav. A person should be there, but the ma'aser, we're talking here about a person that not somebody that just is a chmal amayim from Avdus Hashem, and not even a person that sometimes a person comes and says, okay, I'm davening 3 times a day and I'm going to have a shir. But my midas in this is like, people feel like, yeah, that's just me. You know? That's not just me. That's the gulas that we are in, but that's not us. And the person sees it. Everything he did and he's still not answered. So what happens then? A person can have a mistake. I mean, if you want to take it in something which is, one thing Ivan told me is that he's working for years not to become a Kas Shabbos. He did his brothers, he did Tefillah, he did everything. Nothing worked. Nothing worked. It's usually these things, person says nothing worked, after there's the family. Probably the family said there's a big difference in them. Yeah, but even if they sometimes it looks like nothing worked. Yeah, sometimes it looks. So the Musa says, that's not when you quit. That's not when you quit. A false assessment. I mean, there's like people over-assess themselves when it comes to, sometimes people think how great they are. No such thing. Maybe it's not so to go into the Kaviyuchla, but Tzadikim and Mitiyam Malachim is called Twilis V'Ainu, called Twilis V'Sichas. A boy in a man when you're in the Flum V'Kilis Mishkan. The Tzadikim take our Twilis, and they're the ones who build the Mishkan. You know, the Mishkan, we learn now the Mishkan, the Kailam, Chattis. No Jew could make a Mishkan. You can't make a Mishkan, you make a miniature Mishkan, doesn't matter how big your house is or how small your house is. The Mishkan is, you take whatever you have, you give it to Moshe, Moshe gives it to who he says, and that's how we participate in the Mishkan. The Tzaddik takes all of these tefillas. The Malachim is called tefillas v'sichas. The boinen ben begin of Lord. Zukt also, v'tzurach kol echad es chazik harbe b'tefillah v'sichas tummet. Yeh ha'ich shiyeh. So sometimes we try to think that the way out of this is convincing yourself, no, let me think. When the last time, I'm just taking this as an example, the last time I got angry Shabbos, in over what? And what did I do? The Shabbos the Rebbe talks about HAGADOL from the anger. The Musa sucht nicht over here, because it can't be this way, that the person should now go in and dive in and figure out as an ishtazer. The Musa sucht that you have to go, even if it's a losing battle in your mind now. Zukt er mit harchi hier Atshal Ribia Twilis is Nishlam Abinishal Tzadikim asking me. Ribia Twilis is definitely the Tzadikim that are taking our Twilis. L'lakav l'chabal aloisam ayla Twilis. Ba'oz yichmi l'rachmov v'yushav ayla v'yachmai. Then when they accept all the Twilis, then the Rebbeinu Shalom v'etrachmonas upim. So the end of the game is, the last page of the storybook is Yichmili Rachma Vizburach V'Yushav Ala V'Yalachmai. How long the journey is, I don't know how thick the book is. I presume that every middah that I have to work on. But the end of the book is, if you don't stop, the tzaddikim will take your thrillers. This is the toikuf. Toikuf would be strength.
Strength.
Yeah? Shimapulas human on muluk, she gudul mikolanism. Gudul mikolanism, we have Klalisur has nism, the Muslim, the quotes of Chazal. Klalisur has nism, we have not few nism. Not few nism. There's Yitzias Mitzrayim, Kriyas Yamse, Machemus Hamulek, Haridis Haman, there's Ashruas Ashkena, in Ner Hamaruvi. It's not like it's the array of Nissim der Baruch Shalom did with us is a lot. Aber du sucht der Bnussen, Shigudel Mikola Nissim. Kama Shamar Rabbi Sani. Ki zeh tu es shnichas b'layv kama nushim. Litas, ki ili kol atfilas rikcha v'shule. And that's the biggest problem. Ki sheroyim shetza'akem and mispalalim, ki mebeit pagan Juden, and wird nicht geholfen. Wird nicht geholfen, so we don't see what happens. It's not a true assessment. Even if it is the truth, it's only because of klippes human amulet. Shal Yudai ikra richa sagula samara zeh, shigula sedem, she beginnes amulet, she mizera eben. The reason why a person, because we see this, there are people who, I'm not talking about people who go into chayvus, or people who make comfortable living, and they try all their lives to become rich. Now Erebus is saying, the klippes amulik is what's telling you, if it didn't work yet, forget it. Ja, stimmt. The klippes amulik is wusamach, als der Mensch ki amulik ki klau kol kippes it achre, he meises a mekatrik, he machlish is adas min is chazik betchila. That's what
What does that have to do with becoming rich?
people don't stop trying. So why would somebody say, I made this brother this 40 days?
You don't give up by the money,
Yeah,
you're giving
that's-
up by the tools.
Yeah.
And the reason why you don't give up by the money is
Because
because it is very well possible. It takes longer than that.
Yeah.
It's very well possible. So, what?
It's overgenomen beleid.
Was?
Dat,
Chase after the money.
Chasing after the money, that's the geheimste Sache. Man, we're not going into that. But we're going into now what's a person's, not what's attention span is the word, but how much would a person let from what he is chasing until he decides nothing doing? It depends.
Are we saying over here that he technically should have known that it takes around 100 years he'll get there? Or are we saying that Hashem steps in and has Rahmanas on him and takes him there?
Yeah, he's saying that the assessment that a person is assessing, that it's partner, I don't have any other words. His body this doesn't work.
Right. Is it a logical assessment and it's true?
No.
I thought it was
It's not a
saying
logical
that
assessment,
how
it's true.
come Hashem has to
Because
step in?
people have later Havdulas, people do meditation for longer and it doesn't help them. They're still depressed until they take their whatchamacallit, their medication. Yeah? So it's not logical. That's
No,
I'm
what,
saying-
what,
I'm
he's what he's saying is like this. He wants to say two things, and he's trying to give us to understand the mission. Number one is that every tefillah is not for naught, because the tzaddik takes it and builds with it the Binyan Hamishkan or the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi, even though we don't see it. Yeah, and the cheshbon that a person makes, that I davened so much and I still didn't reach my goals and didn't get what I asked for, is also not a cheshbon, because you have to continue to be responding even if you don't see anything. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu could bring you there.
You can come in any time and Hashem has
Any
Rahman for
second,
you.
yeah, it has nothing to do with
schijnt ook in kinderen aan.
with
Like is dit,
oh,
like this gedaan.
I'm not becoming better. There's no,
One
that's not the question.
Keep
Akadosh
him.
Baruch Hu could do that in a
Keep him. He's
Heavy
good.
stuff.
So why do I have to be
No,
mispal so
it's
much?
not.
Because that every tefillah the tzaddik utilizes and puts it into the binyan HaKedusha. And he's saying like this: when a person's pursuing wealth, how long does it take for him to give up? It takes him a lot longer before a person gives up on his tefillahs. So he said a person should make this cheshbon. You know, when I'm working every day and trying to make a good living, I'm not giving up so fast. Why is it by his bonus I give up after a few days or a few weeks? I daven. Oh, it's not working.
I get even mentioned up here that Hashem is Achmanas and helps you finish and takes you there.
Yeah, but
Wait till- no, I'm saying it looks like it's not a logical step.
Right, so that's why don't give up, because
I don't
it
know.
has nothing, even if you're up your cheshbon, it doesn't make sense that you're going to get there. You have to do yours, and Hashem will already do his and take you there to where you have to get there.
Look to Rav Rappa, but the last line on this column. Vihi,
And then
Amaisis, a Mekatrik, a Machlish, a Sadas, Melchazik, Betwillah. A person, it's not necessarily that this is what a person's span of being able to hold on to a diet until he'll lose weight would be. This is the Sitra Achlis, Machlish. There's a story with Rabban Kalin, Rabban Nagudel. A person once walked into Rabban Nagudel and he told him, Rebbe, said, I don't have the exact words, but this is the essence of the story. That I'm learning and davening all my life. I didn't become a Talmid Chacham. I didn't get the Gashmis that I wanted. And I didn't get out of one Midarur. So Rabban Nagudel told him that there was once a cow. And he opened his mouth. You can demise it? He opened his mouth. Can demise it?
Hershel, we know nothing. Give us some goodness.
There
Start
once
from
a
scratch.
cow
with
in
us.
the morning, the owner came to, the farmer came to the cow and he wanted to hook him up to the plow. And the cow opened his mouth, he said, enough. Enough. So the owner says, what's your problem? He says, you take me all day, I go back and forth, and back and forth. He says, because you can't decide if I belong here or there, I have to go back and forth. I did nothing with my life. So the farmer says, let me explain to you something. It's not that we're talking. He says to the cow, he says, when I go back and forth, you don't realize it because you don't have eyes in the back. You're attached to a plow. When the plow plows, I plant it. I plant it, then wheat grows. So the cow says, and what does that do for me? He says, oh, let me explain to you. I take the kernels of wheat and I give you the hay. And you eat it. Because if you wouldn't be giving me the kernels of wheat, I wouldn't be giving you the hay. And besides that, all of the winter you do nothing. I feed you, I take care of you, and I give you room and board, only because I need you in the summer. Just, you don't see it. That doesn't mean that there's no purpose. And if it wouldn't be for you going back and forth, I would slaughter you and have a feast. Any further questions? Good to know, Rebbe, I'm going to daven mincha. The Nusen says it's not necessarily. Sometimes it's not the clip is the clipper is which is telling you. Ki atzmai meises is kol echad mizor b'mashi masisa b'tavoiso b'behirir and b'medisrusach when it's like. So the whole reason why we're still in the good is that Shat is this agent works both ways. On one hand, his mice is the person to the virus. Then tomorrow he's telling you into the Midas. Tomorrow he's telling you, see his brother, it doesn't work. I know it doesn't work. You know what you did to me yesterday? It's not because his brother this doesn't work. The hole in the roof became much bigger. It's not the patch didn't work. That's what I think. I'm not saying this is what he says. Ich verstehe, was sagt, du, mach mir es gab Regulus Chazish will. Weil da ist Beatzme, mach es das, das Chazik betwillen. Right? So when the Atzahara comes and says, his boy did this, you know, Der ist nur noch so, mir hat mich gerade gewinnt am Breslov, ich habe mir das Knäppel machen. Hat mir gesagt, if you wanna talk about it, you can say this. Honestly, noch ist da Yid gemacht. 40 days he's birthed this and asked the Rebbeinu Shlomo for something, and he didn't see something that he didn't see before. Also hat mir Rabbi immer gesagt, I didn't speak to so many Yidden, I can't stand for them. But the same, when the Atzara comes and says, you see his brother, this didn't work, his pshat is, he's blaming the weakness in them about Zayn Du, which Reb Nussen geht around doing as Masben, as the Iker Zach is, you see that you're not accomplishing anything. The longer a person is Misrashel Mitvila, the Cholsham Misarach Yoyser Agulis, Machlis Shadas, Mistral Yoyser. And it's going back and forth, and it's going back and forth. But Lamasa, that's the Klippus Amun. That is the Klippus Amulet. I'm going to go to page 104, see it's getting a little bit late. Tezaveh, all of this, I mean, it's hard to... Piram, the Nussen has also a Klausche Klippus Amulet, he machlish levin Yisrael. So Piram was supposed to get finished with Klippus, was supposed to Al Kapunim, to be Zocher to conquer Klippus Amulet. Yeah, page 104, that's it. Tezaveh. Besof Hagulis Bais Hagila Mechenes Luvay. Yeah. Rak Tzricha Moit Kamat Willis Ligmer Binyan Amishkin. Now at the end of the gulas, and all we need is a couple of tefillas. V'tachbiloisov and his strategy, yeah, tachbilos is strategy. Machlish lai b'udam. Ki'ili kvar efes tikva chazashula. The strategy is ma'acha sheroyim arichas hagulas kol kach. Shezet kamot shetza'ak v'ayna shen so he's giving over here the time frame, not the time frame in Ishdavar. The matz of Klal Yisrael was when they cried out to Hashem. Kavunas Pirim Shes Gabras Human Ozhoib Sof Gulas Bugu, the end of Gulas Bugu, in the time when they were supposed to start already the Tikkun, building the second Mishnah, and he wanted to be Mavatul this. And therefore he was a Mizgaber of the Binyan B'Samigdash. You know? And the Tikkun started already Punam B'Punam, and he was Mizgaber to bring Ki'ili Kola Twilis Haim L'Rik Chazashul of Einem Paunam Klau. So the Tikkun was already so close because they accomplished already so much. So because they accomplished already so much, yes, they were still in Puras, yeah, in Persia, yes. So Zukte du auch kein Rutze. That's why he wanted to LACHALOS es Yisroel legam chazashulon. He wanted to annihilate Klal Yisroel lahashmid laharig la'abed. Ki ike koyach Yisroel yadai tefillah. Our existence is tefillah. So she begins cheder v'klai zayna shel Mashiach. Yeah, the Rebbe talks about Mashiach is going to come with a new type of weapon. New type of weapon. And the type of weapon is not even operated. It's a level above everything that we have. And it's thriller. You know? It's Klai Zayin Shem Mashiach. Mashiach's Klai Zayin Shem Tzadikim B'chol Dor V'dor. V'oz, Kishehich L'Shdatim L'Spalo, Al Yidai Zer Gaber, Yi B'chinas Cherev Shaloi. Because he brought in Srashlis and thriller, therefore, that's why he became stronger. B'chinas Al Charba Chusichya. The whole reason why he had to have him in it, that he should be able to succeed in annihilating Klal Yisrael was after building on the Chalishas Hadas that he brought in. V'alidai Cherev Sheyesh Le'koyach Kishayin Yisrael Machzikim B'Tvila Shecherev Kli Zayin Shel Yisrael. The Kleizayin for Yisrael is Tefillah. But if we're Mistrashel and Tefillah, not only does it do that, our what's it called? Our weapons become weak. But then he says, כשיש לי כוח, כשאין חסכם משחסכים בתפילה, שאין הכל כל ינקי ודאי מדי עשר. It's not only like saying, okay, America is gonna make every second bullet a dummy. I don't know if it's not that way, I'm not sure. The way things are today. And we're gonna send our soldiers out, every second bullet is gonna be a dummy. That would be a Hisrashlas B'Tfilah. It doesn't work that way. What happens is, our Hisrashlas B'Tfilah, that's what gives, the dummy that you're putting in is giving another real bullet for the other side. This is, I think he says it. כשאין בכנס, כי בזמן שאין כל יעקב, זה ידיים יעשה. ועיקר is גבריסה הוי, או על ידי ששתח ולצלם, במיינה וחדנצה. ועל שנהנים מסדוסים שלא יסרושם, ועל שנקשרים בנושם נפריס. Rabbi Saini said this. These three things, that was his koyach. And this is beginnes pegam avoida betwille. Shtach v'letzelem is avoida zura. The hepech twille. Nichshli benushim nachrias is pegam abris. Ze pegam twille. Shircherev b'kedisha shetli b'tekan abris. Two things go together. When hanem is sedusa shaloi zerusha, this is the beginnes pegam mishpat. Shezoichen al tzedukah with the Rebbe Zukta, the person is pegam mishpat. The tzedukah ma shikusa sham b'toyer hanam. Chile de Gedisha beginnes tzedukah v'chesed. If a person eats b'kedisha, it's tzedukah v'chesed. Beginnes tikkel ha-mishpat. Beginnes tzadik oichel l'svoi Nafshi. Goimel Nafshi is HILCHOS. I think I'll go over here to Kif Hai. Alkain. Rutze human yamach shemoy. Lizgaber Kenig tzidkes Yisroel. Tzedukah Yisroel. She beginnes shkula. So tzedukah is achila be kedisha. This is beginnes tzedukah b'chesed. And Sigait Einsach bringt dem anderen. Tzedukah b'chesed bringt tikkun ha-mishpat. Womer aseres alufim kike kese v'eshkel bei oisam aluchem. No velgin ze ha-melech. But that was supposed to offset the tzedukah. Was our tzedukah comes from achila b'kedisha, which is supposed to accomplish tikkun ha-mishpat. Ki tzedukah beginnes tikkun ha-mishpat, she tikkun ha-tefillah. And he wanted to be zich mizgaber then. And the ikar is his gabrisa ikeneged the minna agdosha she avoides ha-tefillah. The ki ikar ha-minna tuli b'tefillah. Why? So Rav Nussen over here, okay. Shetzrich l'hamash Hashem yizburach yuchel v'him הכל יוכל, והיא מול הרחמם ומסבל התפלוסים של ישראל, ושמעה את תפלוסים תומק. This is the minna which causes tefillah. If a person believes, the Rabbi Ratvan, the entire doctrine, if a person would really realize that he's standing now before the Rabbeinu Shalom and the Rabbeinu Shalom is listening to him, everything would have been a different game. זה שאומר רבי סייני, שאומר לו הקדוש ברוך הוא, the Rebbeinu Shalom told him, Rusha, they already outpaced you with their shkula. Tanina Tama Bercha Ruda Mashmiyim ala shkula. So he came, he wanted to kill Klal Yisrael in Yidalat, but they gave already the shkula. Ki ikar tzedukah b'chinas shkula. K'ma mevi Hashem b'Torah, shetzedukah b'chinas mishpat, v'alidai shiyod, Haich leluchem amacheret, shikala el asara v'lo yechta. Sham, שזה בכנס שקורם צדוקה, מחמש על די צדוקה זויכל בכנס משפט. שהיא בכנס שקורם, בכנס משקל. שיוכל לחלקל דבורה במשפט. דהיינה במשקל שיקלה אל הסער, אבל משקל, שקורם, צדוקה, תיקן המשפט is knowing how to weigh something. זוגת רב נוסן תזיין, נמצא שקליפס אומן Amuliki beginnes klippes hamachleshes and merashles live udam in the spal. The klippes amulik is that it brings a person, marashas laiva with him, makes it weak. Machmas, shroyan arichas atzuras vagulas achmun al kanal. And he feeds off that. He feeds off the arichas agulas and the atzuras, and that's what he uses to be machlas. Shezeh bechinas sabrina niyabeshti, hanema b'toyre. Shesavrim chazashulam kilikol atvilas sadik chazashulam. And this is the tuas v'sikim in klippus amulach. Because it's not true. So I was talking about saying that even in this world you see, but the Muslims of VIENNA Welt, they're building buildings. They're building buildings, and the tzaddikim are building the Mishkan. And what the Huraya, but this happened by Peter. When they were ready almost to go in, that's when he brought them to a matzah to think that they accomplished nothing, but it was almost done already. It was almost done already. Yeah? And zoekt nimmt sich klippes machleches shroim arichs beze ja sheze toin nimshach miklippes sheze hatus nimshach miklippes human. It's not reality. Even though the Muslims talking about over here that the tzaddikim I see are building the Mishkan Bashamayim, the etzem zach that a person feels Tefillah didn't help him. Zoekt der Muslim das Kind von Klippe Samuel. Stimmt? Alkein. Hoyach nur soll der Matche beeste. Der Hachnur von der Klippe ist Matche beeste. Schein beginnes klal hat Tefillah shel tzadik mit Knesset Yisrael. The Tefillas, we need the tzaddik. The tzaddik is the one who's masakan our tefillas. Ki matcha yehidi beginnes tzaddik hadar, she beginnes Mashiach. He was the tzaddik hadar with the beginnes of Mashiach. She beginnes rayach, she kul mekol tefillas. Because kol machamtoi, v'cholach visa shelo yal da tefillah. Everything that matcha tzaddik accomplished was tefillah. Everybody who thought that the way to live in Shishon Abira in Persia was to be mingled with the guy, Matcha Tzaddik didn't do anything. He didn't do any ishtabas. He sent Esther, but the ikr was his tefillah. Mad duchai k'moshadar she beginnes roish v'shoyrish kol tefillas she beginnes rayach beginnes Mashiach. Yeah. Ki he beginnes besumum roish shemar droyer v'zeh besumum rosh daike. Happy beginnes rosh goyim amulik. So there's rosh goyim amulik. So we all know there's two brachas. Yeah? There's the brachas bura alikim shmaim esuretz. It's one starting point, and it finishes balayne kol Yisrael, and then there's brachas goyim amulik, which ends with yoyvet v'achrisoi yishtayt adayoyvet. So Matcha is the Rosh of the Tzaddik. Matcha is the Rosh, but Human is also a Rosh. Human is the Rosh, Rosh is Goyim Amulik. She begins as Rashlis Metville. Kili da is Chalni Lifel Klau. But if in Zukdu, where is this piece over? Matcha begins Besumum Rosh. Matcha is the Besumum Rosh, Besumum is Tefillah, because Mashiach is V'araycha B'yiras Hashem, Shmechazik is life Kol Echad V'echad Mizrah. Matcha is the Tzaddik, it's Mechazik the hearts of every Jew. L'haschul B'chol Pa'am Mechudish, L'schazik B'Tefillah. I know I want to just have a gedank. I don't know if it's Mamish Hazoi. In HILCHOS NACHALOS Daled, the Rebbe talks about Tefillah. Yeah? So noch a Teure of Piram, was ich morgen gesehen. And this is a Hilchos Shabbos, Daled or the High, I don't remember. And he talks over there, says auch the Amenapse Bechazun. That Klippus Amulik is the Hester from the Tzaddik, which says the Rosh Baisov. And the Klippus Amulik is to conceal the Tzaddik. It's something that's nicht, I mean, what it means exactly to conceal the tzaddik. I understand what it means. Rebbe was by the Rebbe, and he talks ganze Tefillas, to be by the Rebbe. L'choira, over here, the Nusen talks about that the klipa from Amulik is an individual. You know? That's a master with your father with the brick, right? Remember that story? And the person dreamt. He went to the that there's a bridge in Vienna. Under the bridge, there's a treasure. He went to the bridge, and he saw there was a guard. After a couple of waiting a while, and a couple of days, he realized that there's no way that he can undig this bridge, this oitzer. So he went over to the guard, and he told the guard, "Let me tell you, I had a dream that there's a bridge, there's a oitzer, a treasure, and let me dig it, and we'll split it." So the guard looks at him and he says, "Stupid Jew, years of dreaming that NACHMAN, NUTA, and that town, in his wood shed, where he keeps the wood, under that there's a oitzer. You think I'm going to go to NACHMAN, NUTA, come at Vadavka looking for oitzer during the Maaseh?" So he heard the guy mentioned his name, his town. So you know what he had to do? He went back and he dug up his backyard and he found the oitzer. So the pashtus in the Maaseh, so there's other versions of the story. Ochad Mazuk from the Bashem Tov, a little bit different. What's the tamtzes from the Maaseh? The tamtzes from the Maaseh is that it's being Mekishet to the Rebbe versus my avodah. Yeah? So over here, Reb Nusen goes into a long Torah where he explains that Purim is to teach us that it doesn't make a difference where you are. It doesn't make a difference where you are. That even if a person is Nehenem Esdusa Shalach Shvayres, and he talks about here the avodah zura, Nichshli Benushim Nochrius, the Eitze is screaming. That's Purim. Over there, Reb Nusen talks about the Klippas Amulik, which Purim is his galas that we can overcome, which we wouldn't have known without. So over here we understand that the Klippas Amulik is a person shouldn't be mispalel, should be misrashel. And Purim was a chiddush that we can overcome that. Over there, the Reb Nusen touches that Amulik is to be mechasa from Tzaddik Emes. And the Dotton guy to Aron, and he even talks about the Inyan. The Amulik is even masking. He should go to a tzaddik. As long as that tzaddik can be the one that can help him, he can go there. It's not going to help him. But ikr is a misrashel from the tzaddik, the rosh by itself, that can help him. So the master with the break guy to chazoi. What's the Mr. Haskell from the break? So the Mr. Haskell from the break, the way I was taught was, the Rebbe is in Vienna. If a person says, "I'm going to the Rebbe, I'm Makasha with the Rebbe," and that's it, I'm fine. The guard will never let him access the oitzer. However, if he sits home, he won't even know that he's sitting on an oitzer. He definitely won't access it. The Meise guide zum Rebbe gewor werden what you're supposed to do at home. That's what Reb Nusen, I think, is trying to say over here. Klippas Amulik is both. Klippas Amulik is to tell a person, one more tefillah. I'm 65. I've been davening for years. One more tefillah is going to do it. So what's that? That alone is gegunished. That the Reb Nusen says, yes, but that's the reason why Klippas Amulik is both. He said that's the halomas tzaddik. So the tzaddik, you shouldn't go, that he should ignite you. At the end, we have to go back to our houses and dig for the oitzer. That's the tefillah. But the Klippas Amulik, that is the hester, which is concealing the tzaddik, is because he knows if we go to the tzaddik, we'll go home and daven. I think maybe that's the correlation between HILCHOS NACHMAN and HILCHOS Shabbos. So Azuk if I know I'm going over time, I'm sorry.
You're not over time yet. Just a couple minutes.
He said clearly that Madchil Tzaddik is the Mephazik, right?
Matcha Tzadik is where the tefillahs go to. But Matcha Tzadik is also the one who gives you the koyach to daven. Even though the Klipper says, the tzaddikim are taking the tefillahs. Well, so the interesting thing about this is the tzaddik.
Yes, that's good. Look,
Matcha Tzadik. Yeah. There's two things. That's why I said this. On one hand, the tefillahs go to Matcha Tzadik and he builds the Mishkan. That's after you did it. But to daven, you need the tzaddik, because without that, the Yitzhara comes with Hamas. 2,000 years good. 2,000 years good. 2,000. Moshe, 2,000 years good. I overcome that. Zoek de matcha tzaddik. Du zoekt erin, man. Du zoekt erin. Mechazik live kollega dwege misur lahasko bechol pam mechudish es chazik betwillen. You can't do it yourself. I mean, there's a lot of motivational speakers that get paid millions of dollars how to motivate employees, and their productivity goes way, way up. But doesn't work for tefillah. Tefillah is the tzaddik. Good. It's not a question of motivation. It's not a question of motivation. You can go to there are people who give sales courses to your staff to motivate them to go from double their sales. It's not about motivation. It's about the problem over here is motivation works against your competition, but doesn't work against Klippus Hamulik. The Klippus Hamulik, he says over here, is the tzaddik shemchazik kol echad be'echad misruel lahaschel b'chol pam mechudish es chazik betwillah. So he's not saying over here you have to answer the Yetzer Hara from the Hamulik. No, I accomplished something. He says, no, I'm starting again. The tzaddik that is teaching us that Lashon Zan Azoi. But he's giving you chizik, even if it's that, you should be able to start again. Ki kvar pa'alni harba, chadaynu in tzirich lifel harba moed moed. It's true. On one hand he's saying lahaskel, on one hand he's saying, because it's a helft nicht sich dingen mit the Yetzer Hara to say, but maybe I'm a middle. No, the tzaddik gives you the call that even if you're by the haskula, you can be maschel again. You can be maschel again. At shenigmer abinyan l'shleimus, beginnes mishkan. Well, hachzer Hashem der Rebbeinu Shalom should be machzer to us, beginnes punem bepunem. The Kenig oitzem HAGADOL van the fluas vayishiyas. Was ins darf mit heulen, adain lo eschalni lespal kerui klau. Ja, but afa pikan kvar uzelun Hashem is burach arba moed. I'm saying, what we have to accomplish with tefillah, we didn't even start the davening the way it's supposed to. Afa pikan with the koyach from the tzaddik. Even with these tefillahs, we b'chol yoyim v'yoyim unitzich l'haskul v'eschazik l'sgab v'tefillah mechudash. Why ki l'ilus ha'en chayket. V'hi mechazik l'bayni l'ftoyer b'chazda yizburach. Tumad v'eschazik b'tefillah tumad. Ki ein shem tefillah l'rik chazda shulam. L'kol tefillah v'tefillah ois roshim v'nim b'ayis koymis ha'shkina v'chines b'as ha'mikdash ad she'yishtala mashir k'musay oz yich milirachma v'yusha v'layni שכל זה הפך בכנס קליפס הומל והמולק על כאן היא מכניע ואויקת קליפוס המפורם. שכוח. I enjoyed myself. I hope you guys
So did
too.
we all enjoyed it.
I hope you guys too. I enjoyed myself.
Thank you.
Cow story.
Goodbye, my dear.
No? Oh, Pastor.